you? I'm back again. Have you missed me? No? Oh, alright then. So, yeah, I've been away on a ship in the North Sea working for the last 5 weeks and finally back to do some more videos. And it's good to be back actually. It's been a while since I've worked offshore, as I said last time. Several years really. 2.5 maybe, short of 3 years. So I'm here, I've got my Proline Pro MT obviously, the boss is back. Yeah, I just decided that was the one I was going to take out today because, I mean, it's just a great RC. I've said this many times before. So, what's happened? What's been new? Well, obviously working away. The ship I was on was called the Stanislav Yudin. Now that, when I read that, I got a bit worried. And then my fears were confirmed when I saw, yep, that is Russian. It's not just a Russian name. And that was a bit of a problem. Now I'll explain. I've been on one Russian ship before, ever, called the Academic Shatsky, and it was diabolical. It was like being paid to float around in prison for, 6 weeks or whatever it was at the time. And look, my Proline's stuck. It's not exactly a scale crawler, that truck. Look at it. Yeah, it ain't no scale crawler. So anyway, and then in the offshore industry there is a saying, and it is absolutely true, saying that nothing sinks faster than a Russian boat because they're just not very well designed and not very well put together. I mean, this boat, the Stanislav Yudin, was actually put together in Finland, but it's Russian. It's for the Russian market, to Russian standards, with the Russian crew. And my experiences on the Academic Shatsky were freaking awful. Absolutely awful. The food gave me basically IBS. I lost loads of weight. I was vomiting constantly on that boat. This is, like I said, this is the old one I was on previously, not the one I've just been on. I ended up coming off the boat weighing only 7.5 stone. Now, for people who don't know what that is, it's very little, but I'll just Google it here. 7.5 stone in kilograms. Comes to, yeah, under 48 kilograms in weight. That is so skinny. I was like a walking skeleton. And the boat was filthy, absolutely filthy. Everybody smoked everywhere, even though that's illegal. They chucked the rubbish overboard, even though that's illegal. It leaked diesel everywhere. The streamers leaked. Kerosene that's in the streamers. That's the data gathering cables. Sorry. So that, yeah. And then we were stuck in a storm, and they came in with a screw gun, like a drill, and they were like, "Okay, we're gonna screw your cupboard doors shut." I'm like, "Why?" Because we're in a storm. They're gonna flap open otherwise, because the locks are broken on the cupboard door. Okay, so I'm gonna be with it closed for 3 days. Luckily for me, on the first night, the side of the cupboard fell off, so I could still get my clothes. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, I wasn't looking forward to that. Just to put it in perspective, actually, before we move on from that boat, 2012 I think it was, or 2013 I was on that boat. And then the next one I was on was the Ramform Challenger, which is a Norwegian boat, and that's my favourite boat I've ever been on. I love it. And just to cut away from that, I did say the Proline Pro MT was no scale crawler, but there was some logs here. I thought I'd give it a try. I'm sure it can pull off scale crawlerism. But look at the front angle of the front right wheel. It's completely off. I noticed later on I'd lost a screw from the steering servo. I'd like to see your scale crawler do that. Ah, stuck again. Touché, scale crawler. Touché. So yeah, there's a screw missing in the steering servo, so the handling was inconsistent throughout the rest of this video. I don't know when it came off, but anyway, there you are, and it's stuck again. So what was I saying? Yeah, so I was on the Challenger, and the client representative on board was a Texan called Jim. And we saw the Shatsky. We saw this plume of smoke on the horizon, and it was up in the radar, it said Shatsky. And he came up and he was like, "I heard," look at that pizza cutter. He said, "I heard the Academic Shatsky's in the area." I was like, "Oh, you've been on it?" He's like, "Yeah, in 1992. Well, like, really? So it was a piece of crap in 92, and I was on it in 2012 or 2013. That puts it in perspective. So this new Russian, well, I say new, I was worried about it. I was worried about the conditions, and And also, can I just say the last thing about the Shatski before I move on, because I keep forgetting. There was a girl on board called Emma who I was supposed to be working with. Nice girl, English. She got so sick on the Shatski she had to be she had to be evacuated and taken to hospital after 8 days. So yeah, there you are. Look at that though. They say you don't get nice summers in Scotland. You're right. So, Stanislav Uden, what was that like? The one I was just on. It was fine. It was fine. To be honest, it's a Norwegian. I think it was no Dutch. Dutch. It was a Dutch company that runs it now, and it had an overhaul in 2014. But honestly, nowadays, especially not so much if it's for a Russian company and it's a Russian trawler or whatever. I heard they're still terrible, but anything on sort of Western companies, ships that are serving a Western crew, a Western company, even with a Russian crew or a Russian ship, they've been brought kicking and screaming into the 21st century in terms of conditions and safety and food quality, thank goodness, and things like that. So honestly, it was actually quite a nice vessel. The problem was there was not a lot to do during downtime. Although it had an overhaul quite recently, you can't so much change the inside layout of a vessel. So although it had new furnishings and new surfaces and stuff, there still wasn't a lot of space in the accommodation block for actual things to do. So there was no cinema in this one, and there was no library. There was no server with lots of films or TV shows for you to download and things like that. So whereas other boats did have that, this one was a bit behind on that. So there was a ping pong table. Some people played that. It was alright. I got beaten every single match I played, literally. And there was obviously a gym. So I've lost a bit of weight. Good thing. I mean, I wasn't overweight, but a bit more trim now, a bit fitter. Yeah, so that was okay. I'm going to be more prepared next time. I had 3.5 days to do 3 days worth of courses and then get my arse on a boat with a weight limit of 11 kilograms for my luggage because we're getting in and off by helicopter. Actually, on the first day the boat was in port anyway, so I didn't get a helicopter. There's repairs going on, but on the way out I got the helicopter. So 11 kilos when you factor in your weight of your work boots and all the rest of it, your safety gear, and your bag, it leaves you very little. So I had 3 days worth of clothes and not much to do. I just managed to get a laptop on board. So next time I'm going to, well, what I've done is I've left my work boots there, so I don't need to worry about that anymore. Work boots and safety gear is all there. So I'm going to use a backpack which is lighter than my suitcase, and well, not really a suitcase, but travel case. And I'm going to bring my Nintendo Switch, and I'll have some stuff to do. I'll be better prepared with a laptop and films and stuff. So it'll be good. I'm glad to be back into it, and we've had some beautiful weather. Production's going well, and yeah, and it was like I say, off of Scotland in the North Sea. And the food was absolutely really, really nice most of the time. A couple of times I had some dishes I didn't like, but the food was great, and I'm happy to be there. And I'm also happy to be back. And Matthew's going to be back, and Alan's going to be back, because people were requesting Alan, I don't know why. Nah, I'm kidding. Yeah, and we're going to have a lot more content for you guys, hopefully over the next 5 weeks, and then I'll be off again. But I'm going to try and have it set up so Matthew can upload one per week while I'm away. That's what we're planning on doing. I'm going to get the fleet up to speed before I start. There's lots of repairs and stuff. Before I start chucking money at new stuff, because I've only just come into money, I'm going to be a bit more sensible than I used to be. Yeah, so there's some models I have that you've never seen, ever. So, yeah, I'll get cracking with that. And, yeah, it's good to be back. And thanks for viewing, thanks for watching, and see you again soon. Cheers.